welcome back to the deep dive. We all crave clarity in this fast-paced world.
That's right. We're all about getting to the heart of things, cutting through the fluff.
Exactly. Today we're zeroing in on something absolutely crucial in software development. It's all about performance and security testing.
And we've got a great foundation for this deep dive. We've got notes and a whole session's worth of material, so we're ready.
Think of it like this. We're going to break it down. Make sure you walk away really understanding what these tests are and why they matter so much today.
And the tools. Don't forget the tools. It's a whole toolkit we'll unpack.
Yeah, we're not just going to scratch the surface. Our mission is to equip you with like a rock-solid grasp of how we make sure software runs like a dream, keeps your data safe, the whole 9 yards.
From the inside out.
Okay, so let's jump right in. First up, making sure those digital gears are turning smoothly. Performance testing.
Right. So performance testing, it's not just about, does the app work? It's about how well it performs under pressure, when things get real.
Right, because you don't want things to just break down when things get a little heavy.
Exactly. So we're looking for, are there bottlenecks? Can it handle a lot of users? It's got to meet those demands, right? And it's got to do it efficiently.
So this matters to the average person using an app or website how?
Okay, so think about it. Even a tiny delay, just a split second, can make people abandon a website. You're shopping online, it takes too long to load, you're out of there.
Right.
So for businesses, this is a big deal. Performance testing makes sure your experience, whether you're a customer or an employee using the company software, is smooth, even when things are crazy busy.
So it's about more than just convenience. It's about actual impact.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so our sources dig into 3 main types of performance testing. Let's start with load testing.
Load testing. All right, so imagine a typical day, right? Our notes use the example of an e-commerce site having a sale.
Right, Black Friday or something.
Exactly. So load testing simulates that. It's like a bunch of people are browsing, adding stuff to their carts, checking out.
Seeing if the site can handle the rush.
Yeah, can it handle it? Does it slow down? Can it keep up with that normal, everyday rush?
Okay, so it's like making sure the stadium can handle the fans on game day.
Perfect analogy.
Then there's stress testing. This sounds a little more intense.
Yeah, stress testing, we're cranking things up. Now we're pushing the system way past its limits. Our script mentions banking apps on payday.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's checking their balance, transferring money.
Exactly. So we want to see, where does it break? When does it finally say, I can't take it anymore? And how well does it recover after that? It's about resilience.
Right. So load testing is the regular rush hour. Stress testing is the unexpected traffic jam.
I like that.
Okay, so we got load testing, stress testing. What about scalability testing?
Okay, so scalability. This is about the future. It's about growth. Imagine a social media platform, and suddenly it goes viral.
Great. Everyone's jumping on.
Tons of new users. So scalability testing checks, can the system handle that? Can we add more servers, more bandwidth? Will it keep performing well as it grows?
So it's not just about today, it's about tomorrow. It's about planning for success.
Exactly. You got to be ready for that growth.
So to do all these tests, you need the right tools. Our sources talk about a bunch of them.
Yeah, a whole bunch. These tools, they're like your assistants. They help you simulate all those users, and then they give you all this data to analyze.
Right. They do the heavy lifting.
Exactly. So JMeter, it's a really popular one. It's open source, so it's free, which is awesome. You can use it for load and stress testing. It's a great place to start.
And then there's LoadRunner. That sounds like a serious tool.
Yeah, LoadRunner. It's a commercial tool. It's used by a lot of big companies. It's got all the bells and whistles,
Right, all the features.
detailed reports, dedicated support, the whole package.
Our notes also mention Gatling. How is that different?
Gatling, it's all about performance. It's really fast, and it's designed to be part of the development process.
Okay, so you can kind of build it right into your workflow.
Yeah, exactly. You can keep an eye on performance all the time.
And last but not least, K6.
K6. This one's for the developers out there. It's easy to use, especially if you're familiar with JavaScript. It's it speaks their language.
Okay, so there's a tool for everyone.
Yeah, it depends on your needs, your budget, what your team is comfortable with.
Right, the right tool for the right job.
Exactly. Now, are you ready to move on to security testing? This is where things get really interesting.
Oh yeah. We've covered how to keep things running smoothly. Now it's time to make sure they're secure. So what exactly is security testing?
All right, so security testing, it's like being a detective. You're looking for vulnerabilities, like weaknesses in the system.
Okay, so like a digital detective.
Exactly. You're trying to find those weak spots before the bad guys do.
Right, because the bad guys are always looking for a way in.
Always. So we want to make sure that sensitive data stays safe no matter what.
Okay, so why is this so important for the average person? Why should we care?
All right, so think about all the information you have online. Your bank details, your health records, your private
Right,
conversations.
all that stuff is out there.
If there's a security breach, it can be a disaster. It can affect your finances, your health, your privacy.
It can ruin your life, basically.
It can be really bad. And then there's the whole thing with cyber attacks,
Hmm.
hacking, malware, those huge data breaches you hear about in the news.
Yeah, those are scary.
And then there's also the legal stuff. A lot of industries have really strict rules about security.
Right, you gotta follow the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So security testing isn't just a good idea, it's often the law.
Okay, so it's a big deal. Our notes emphasize being proactive, finding the vulnerabilities before the attackers do.
Right, right. You got to be on the offensive. You're not just waiting around for something bad to happen. You're actively looking for weaknesses and fixing them.
Okay, so it's like a preemptive strike.
Exactly. And there are some key principles that guide this whole process.
Okay, let's break those down. First up, confidentiality. What does that mean when we're talking about security?
So, confidentiality, it's all about making sure that sensitive information stays secret. Only the people who are supposed to see it can see it.
Makes sense.
So we're checking things like access controls, encryption, making sure the data is protected both when it's stored and when it's being sent.
So keeping those secrets under wraps. What about integrity?
Integrity, it's about making sure that the data hasn't been tampered with.
Okay, so not just secret, but also accurate.
Exactly. We want to make sure nobody has messed with the data, changed it without permission.
Right, so it's trustworthy.
Exactly.
Then there's authentication and authorization, two terms that often go hand in hand.
Yeah, they're buddies. So authentication is like checking your ID. It's making sure you are who you say you are.
Okay, so proving your identity.
Right. And authorization is about what you're allowed to do once you're in.
So it's like, okay, you're in the building, but what rooms can you access?
Exactly. Security testing checks both of those things. Are the right people getting in? And are they only doing the things they're allowed to do?
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, the last principle is availability. So it's more than just making sure the system is working, right?
Yeah, this is about resilience. It's about making sure the system stays up and running, even if it's under attack. Like imagine a denial of service attack.
Okay, so someone's trying to overload the system, shut it down.
Right. So we test to see how well the system can handle that. Can it stay online? Can the good guys still access it?
Okay, so it can take a punch.
Exactly.
Now, just like with performance testing, there are different types of security testing. Each one has its own focus.
Right. And its own set of tools.
Let's start with vulnerability assessment.
So vulnerability assessment, it's like a health check. You're scanning the system, looking for known weaknesses.
Okay, so like a routine checkup.
Exactly. And there are tools for this, like Nessus, Qualys, OpenVAS. They can find tons of potential problems.
And then we have penetration testing. This is where we get into the ethical hacking.
Yeah, ethical hacking. This is where things get fun. So instead of just scanning, we're actually trying to break in. We're thinking like the bad guys.
Okay, so it's like a controlled break-in.
Exactly. We want to see how far we can get, what kind of damage we can do. It helps us find those really sneaky vulnerabilities.
Right, because the bad guys aren't playing by the rules.
Definitely not. So we use tools like Metasploit, Burp Suite, Kali Linux. They give us a whole arsenal of attacks to try.
So it's like a simulation of a real attack.
Exactly.
Okay, what about security auditing and compliance testing?
So this is all about the rules, making sure you're following all the regulations and standards.
Right, like GDPR and ISO 2701.
Exactly. We're checking to make sure the system is set up correctly, that it's meeting all the requirements.
Okay, so it's not just about being secure, it's about being compliant.
Right, you got to do both.
Last but not least, fuzz testing. This one sounds a bit chaotic.
Fuzz testing, it's a wild one. Basically, you're throwing a bunch of random data at the system trying to make it crash.
Okay, so like you're trying to break it.
Kind of, yeah. You're looking for those weird edge cases, those unexpected things that might cause a problem.
Right, because the bad guys might try that too.
They might, so you got to be prepared for anything.
So it's like stress testing, but with data instead of users.
That's a good way to put it.
Our speaker notes really emphasize regular testing. It's not just a one-time thing, right?
No, no, no. Security is a marathon, not a sprint. You got to be vigilant. You got to keep testing. You got to stay ahead of the bad guys.
It's a constant battle.
It is.
Okay, wow, that was a lot. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have, but it's important stuff.
So just to recap, performance testing is all about making sure your applications run smoothly, handle the load, and scale for the future.
And security testing is about protecting your data, your systems, your users. It's about making sure the bad guys can't get in.
Right, we talked about all sorts of different types of testing, all sorts of tools. It's a whole world out there.
It is.
So as you navigate this digital world, think about these two things. Performance and security. They work together to create truly robust software.
Software that you can rely on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about which of these areas is most important to you, your work, your life. It's not just about making software work, it's about making it work well and keeping it safe. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.